Hey, this is Gabby, the hippie historian, and today I want to share with you my interview with Eric Owen of Black Pistol Fire. Black Pistol Fire have actually been around for quite some time now. They put out their 5th album last year, and Eric gave me the chance to talk to him about the new album, how the band started, and all kinds of fun stuff in between that. So, if you haven't listened to them before, I highly recommend it. You will love them. Without further ado, here's my interview with Eric Owen of Black Pistol Fire.
So just to start off, how did you guys meet, you and Kevin?
We went to kindergarten together at a school called the School of the Annunciation, a Catholic school in Don Mills. So it would have been, I think, senior. You're from Ontario, so you probably know there's not just kindergarten, it's senior kindergarten and junior kindergarten and so on and so forth. So we met in, I believe it was senior kindergarten.
And how did the band start?
Oh my God, that was many years later. We went to Annunciation until we were in 8th grade. I started playing drums around then. He was playing guitar, but band didn't really start. We had, I guess, one band throughout high school into college that was, had a bunch of different people in it, but he and I were always the ones that were always in it. So that probably started around maybe 16 or so 11th grade, or grade 11, as we'd say in Ontario. And, yeah, it was mainly, especially obviously the first couple of years, it was all just cover songs. Some of them bad covers. It was the good covers or some, Weezer, Nirvana, a lot of Oasis, trying to do Beatle covers that probably weren't very good, and Zeppelin covers that were awful.
And I assume that's the kind of music you were listening to at the time?
Oh yeah, Oasis and Weezer were two huge bands in our friend circles, and then the Beatles and Zeppelin were obviously massive as well. So, yeah, those are probably some of the main stuff that we tried to do. And then that kind of carried on throughout. And then eventually we started coming up with songs of our own that probably weren't that great either, but they were original at the very least. And then, and then flash forward to 10 years of trial and error and figuring it out. And now, the songs are pretty good, I think. Vast improvement.
Absolutely. And what kind of music is your biggest influence right now at this minute? Who are you listening to?
Oh, man. I think it varies. Kevin listens to a lot of the same stuff. I think some of the big common ones, that last Cage the Elephant album was phenomenal. I think we both loved that one. And Arctic Monkeys are always a big influence on us. A lot of hip-hop coming out of New York, a lot of that stuff. That last Rihanna album was really cool.
Nice.
A lot of the whole West Coast kind of garage rock scene, so like the OCs, Ty Segall. I think Bass Drum of Death are actually from the South, but a lot of that stuff is something we really, really vibe on quite well. So yeah, it's kind of all over the place, I guess, which is a good thing, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Where do you think that bluesy sound comes from? Because I know you don't hear that around Scarborough a ton.
Yeah, I'd say that's kind of Kevin's upbringing. His dad was into, I guess not maybe not so much blues as old rock and roll, like your Chuck Berrys and whatnot. And that's kind of what. And then you get a Zeppelin, and you kind of trace back who they like, and it's like, oh, they love Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf and all that stuff.
Flashing forward a little bit, can you just tell me a little bit about how Deadbeat Graffiti kind of came together? Yeah,
so it was last spring, actually. The very first song we recorded would have been, we did 2 songs. The first song that we came up with would have been a song called Speak of the Devil. And we actually played that at our album release for Don't Wake the Riot.
Okay.
So that was the first song that kind of came out. And then we did the tours for Don't Wake the Riot. And after that was done, we just kind of had time off. I mean, there were shows, but there wasn't touring per se.
Right.
And there's a lot of one-offs and flying here for a weekend, so we had a bunch of time, and then we went and recorded Speak of the Devil and a song called Hearts of Had. We recorded those last summer. And then between other, again, one-off shows, flying to festivals, so on and so forth, we would constantly always work on stuff. Kev is writing, Kev writes pretty much every day, or if not every day, every other day. He's constantly doing stuff, and when we're not on the road, we're, in the rehearsal space or in the studio a lot. So the songs were recorded in a bunch of different batches from, I guess, last summer from that first one to a lot of them being done last fall, and then a few earlier this year, with the last one we recorded on the album would have been Blue Dream, and that was done in April, and that was a session where that was the only song. So it was bits and pieces here, kind of all over the place. And I think there was a conscious effort to kind of make I mean, there's always an effort to make the song sound different, but this one, it was, let's see how far we can take it. And a lot of the songs came kind of naturally. Kev had an idea, or a full written song, and then we kind of made it work as they are on there. So that's kind of how it came to be.
And when like Kevin comes to you with an idea or whatever, how does your songwriting process evolve? Is it melody first? Is it lyrics first?
I think it's usually, the vast majority of the time, it's music, and Kev has either a progression or a riff or a groove, and then I think a lot of times a melody going with that.
Okay.
So I think the lyrics almost always come last. That's almost the final piece of the puzzle. So it varies, but that's kind of the typical way how it goes. And a lot of times, one idea, hey, here's this complete song, and then maybe the verse doesn't work or the chorus doesn't work, so you take the chorus of another song. It kind of gets Frankenstein together.
And who writes the lyrics? Do you guys write them together?
Oh, no, that's all him.
All him? That's fair.
That's all him.
Where was this one recorded? In Austin?
Yeah. Both, this one and the last one, actually, Don't Wait the Right, were both recorded in the same studios. They're both split. I think on this one, let me think. I think 3 of the songs in this one would have been, I think it's 3. 3 or 4 of the songs, I guess, were, or maybe 2 or 3. I can't remember off the top of my head, but a couple of them were recorded at Fifth Street Studios, which is a studio in Austin that our beautiful, lovely tour manager, Nick Joswick, runs.
Yep.
So he was the main man there at those sessions at Fifth Street. But actually, the majority of the songs were done at Arlen Studios, also in Austin. So both albums were kind of split between those 2 studios. They both have good things that work for each. Each studio has, they're both amazing studios, and each one kind of caters to this certain thing.
And anything in particular you're trying to say with this record, or is each song its own entity?
You know what? Each song is its own entity, but at the same time, the collection of songs, it's the idea of kind of breaking down genres and not being stuck doing one particular sound. I think listening's changed a lot since maybe, I don't know, the 80s, 90s, even early 2000s, I guess, when, you can make someone a mixtape or a mix CD or something, and I guess it kind of goes with that, but in the 90s, if you listen to rock music, that was, you had to go buy the CD, and that was kind of all you could listen to. Even if you just wanted one song, you had to spend $15 and get that one song, where now it's a little different. I can listen to, the Misfits and then listen to Wu-Tang, all back to back, and it doesn't matter, or listen to the OCs and listen to Rihanna. It's kind of, things have changed, people's listening habits have changed. I know we don't listen to one type of music. I think a lot of people that we know are probably the same. So it was kind of with that idea of, let's not get pigeonholed doing one thing, and let's kind of take everything that we like and see if we can kind of make it work in our own way.
It does still have a really cohesive sound about it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. At the end of the day, it's still us doing all the stuff. So we're still the vessel.
I kind of talk about that a lot, how artists will take all this time to kind of pick the order of their songs, and then we download 1 or 2 tracks, and it's totally gone out the window. So I think it's cool you're still kind of curating that. Mm-hmm. How about touring with Gary Clark Jr., if you don't mind telling me a little bit about that and any impact he's had on your music?
I think Gary's, the big impact he's had is that he definitely makes us feel that we can kind of not take it easy in the sense that have fun with it a little more, because him and their crew, they're such good guys, and they're definitely having fun with it. And it's not to mean they don't take it seriously, because they do, but there's times where Kevin and I get really serious about it, and to the point where we forget that this is it's a fun job, and we do this because we love it. So I think that was a big part of it. And Gary, especially his last album, very groove oriented. So we kind of noticed that it's a lot of their songs, they kind of just have a really cool groove, and they just go with that, and that's the song. And we thought, we can kind of do something like that. So I think that's a big part of it. And they're just so professional, the whole crew. And really for us, a lot of the reason why we are at least where we are is kind of due to Gary and the kind of sporadic touring we've done with him over the past, I guess, 2.5 years maybe. The reason we can draw, several hundred people in Austin or Philly or Chicago or even Toronto, I'm sure helped, is, we've gotten probably thousands of more fans because of the shows we've done with him. So we're pretty grateful.
Absolutely. And what is it like to try and win over his crowd? I mean, there's people there obviously who haven't heard of you before, and you gotta.
Oh yeah, yes. It's with Gary. It seems like actually every single time I'm pretty sure we've toured with him, it's kind of been not last minute, but it's not horribly early. Like we're not on the bill when the show gets announced. So all of his shows, every single one of his shows sells out. I think the only show that didn't sell was one show in Germany we did with him. But every other show sells out almost instantly. So it's not even like our fans could even have a chance to get tickets. So it's almost 100% his fans. And yeah, there's people of his that were already fans, and some that are maybe have heard of us. But we like doing that. We think his crowd's pretty receptive, and it's not a perfect fit musically, but it's close enough where we like the challenge of trying to win over an audience.
Absolutely.
We really look forward to that, and that's one of our favorite things to do, actually.
I mean, if Toronto was any judge of that, I'd say you did a good job. So how's the tour going so far?
It's pretty good. Yeah, it's very good. I think we're a little over the halfway point now, and it was good to get these couple days rest because last week and the week before it was great, but it was drive, show, which is good in the way it kind of has to be. But we definitely, even though these days weren't complete days off, it was very good to have more rest than we had last week. But yeah, the shows have been really good. Attendance numbers are up, and the crowds are into it, and we're pretty excited. This is a big weekend coming up here with Philly, DC, and New York on Sunday. So we're pretty stoked. Then we have the festival next week. And
any highlights so far?
You know what? Toronto was probably the best show so far. I mean, every show's been great, but there was something about it. The energy in the room was incredible, and to be honest, we weren't expecting it on a Sunday in Toronto. We weren't expecting it to be. We knew it was going to be a good show because it's usually a good show in Toronto. Everything just kind of clicked and felt right. So that, and Detroit was really great the night before too, because typically Detroit wasn't one of our stronger places, and we felt really good about Detroit. So yeah, those 2 nights back to back felt really. Every night's fun, and the shows are all good, but those 2 nights really stood out.
Oh, good. So I caught the right ones.
Yeah, you caught both of them, maybe because you were there.
Yeah, there we go. I'll go with that.
Yeah.
What's your favorite song to play live?
Oh, it really varies. That's tough. Yeah, Hipster Shakes. Kind of in the older songs, it's always great because it's kind of quick and to the point. It's a shorter one where we don't kind of jam, and people hear that riff and they instantly like it. So that one's fun and simple. But I also love Run Rabbit Run, the length of it. And then for the new ones, I love playing Bully, which we've been kind of closing a lot of the sets with. Just when that kind of get that soft verse, and then when that chorus hits, it's just like an explosion of sound. So I love playing that one.
Yeah. How about your favorite band to cover?
Ooh, favorite band to cover. Let me think. Who do we really cover? It's very rare that we break it out. We've only done it maybe 3 times live, but when we've done Aneurysm by Nirvana, it's got to be the right setting.
Yeah.
It's got to be the right setting for that song, and the right show. Not every show would that make sense to play. So when it feels right and we have broken it out, it's been pretty fun.
That's a great song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Question. Watch It Burn. How did that song come together?
That was almost entirely Kevin, where he kind of was going to do this soft acoustic ballad, and it was with this kind of synth pattern in the back, like just like a sustained synth, and then that was kind of be it. And then he pretty much came and said, to me, he's like, I think we need some percussion on this. So we went to that song was actually recorded at both studios. The guitar and vocals and everything were recorded at Fifth Street, and then the drums and percussion were done and it was mixed at Arlen. So that was an interesting one where it was kind of both. It got the best of both worlds, really. It got the drum sound of Arlen and the cool vocal hauntingness of Fifth Street. So I couldn't tell you lyrically how again, that's kind of Kev's area, but that song was interesting in that it was going to be one way, and then it still is that way, but it just got a little added part in the end there.
How did you learn to play the drums?
I would have been, I think, 12 years old, and my uncle was a music teacher at a school in Markham, and so me and my sister went to visit him there one day in March break, and then I begged my parents to get me a drum set, and then I just kind of figured it out on my own eventually over time. And then from there, I kind of tried to do whatever Dave Grohl did songs. I tried to learn, Nirvana songs basically, and they probably weren't very accurate back then, but but I tried.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, and then here we are now. That's kind of it. It's kind of evolved over time. I've learned. I've learned in the past 3 or 4 years, definitely playing less is more a lot of times. If you listen to like the oldest stuff, there's just way too many drum fills, and it's very busy. Yeah, so I kind of know now, like, less is more. You can do less, and then when you do something, it stands out better.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Eric.
Cool. Thank you so much, guys. Take care.
No problem. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.